Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
Yeah, welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. We'll be talking about last night's Monday Night Raw. We're going to be previewing Wrestle Kingdom Night 2 after the events of Night 1, a brand new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. And then that's what we're doing today. This week we got it. There's
so much.
A ton of wrestling going on this week. We've got tonight, New Year's Evil. We're going to be doing live reactions to that right here at twitch.tv/Steven Larson. What is it? Tomorrow is Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Big night on Dynamite. Don't think we're going to do live reactions to that, but afterwards we're going to be doing our live recap of that. Thursday, of course, heavy streaming day. We've got NXT UK. We've got The Numbers Don't Lie. And then, of course, we've got the Smash Zone coming back this week. Mm-hmm. Friday, live Rampage watch along. Saturday, we've got Battle of the Belts and Impact's Hard to Kill. We'll be doing live reactions to all those. Sunday, we're off.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Heavy wrestling week.
There's a lot of wrestling going on the month of January. A lot.
And we're going to be doing our full Wrestle Kingdom review coming up this Thursday to give us proper time. Because I've just watched.
Yeah, let's say Thursday or Friday. I don't want to make promises for Thursday because they're both long shows. I've watched a grand total of 3 matches so far. So,
yeah, it's like 10 hours altogether.
Yeah,
if last night is to be, any indication,
so
it was like a 5-hour show.
We'll aim to get it up by the end of the week.
Mm-hmm, yeah. But no, I mean, last night, from what we've seen so far, night 1, a tad bit underwhelming. And there is a couple new champions, tag champions, Yoshihashi and Goto, taking it off the Dangerous Techers. Yeah. Of course, Evil, in what a lot of people are saying, a pretty underwhelming match, took the never open weight title off Ishii. And then in a pretty damn good match, Kazuchika Okada is a first-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champion because they restarted the lineage on that new butterfly title. Yeah, it was a good match though against Shingo Takagi, and he moves on to face Will Ospreay tonight. Yeah, because Ospreay claimed that Okada is interim champion because he never lost it.
We were just talking about Wrestle Kingdom. Let's talk about WWE's Wrestle Kingdom. You may have heard of the show Wrestlemania. Following Brock Lesnar's title win, WWE title win at day 1. We've all been kind of wondering how that particular win would affect plans for WrestleMania. According to Dave Meltzer on a recent Wrestling Observer Radio, apparently it won't alter much of anything. And these transcripts come to you from Wrestle Talk. This is what Dave had to say. Quote, Drew will find out, I presume, this week how serious it is. He's referring to Drew's neck injury. He continues, Dave does. He would be the guy most likely to face Reigns at the Royal Rumble, but he may not be available. I know that they've got everything worked out between now and WrestleMania. Everything is worked out. All the original plans. There were some changes, obviously, because the Lesnar and Roman Reigns match from Saturday didn't happen. But they've got their new twists and turns, and the final destination, which is presumably Lesnar and Roman Reigns, is still on. Whatever the plan was for the WWE Championship match, I don't know what it was, but they're going to get there, and that's also still on. So the WrestleMania matches are the same, but the plans on how to get there obviously have changed. Additionally, Bryan Alvarez mentioned on a recent episode of the Bryan and Vinny show that Brock versus Roman at Mania is still the plan. And these transcripts are from WrestlingNews.co. Quote, with Brock going to Raw for the time being and feuding with Lashley, the WrestleMania main event at this point appears to still be Brock versus Roman Reigns. I do not know what this means, but as of 20 minutes ago or so, it was not going to be title versus title match. What that means, I don't know. It could mean that Brock will not be champion by the time Mania rolls around. It could mean they're just going to do a champion versus champion like Survivor Series, but each belt is not on the line. I don't know what that means, but as of 20 minutes ago, as of today, they are not doing like a title versus title unification match at WrestleMania. Everything could change.
So let's say that what they're saying, let's say this last bit is true. They're not going to do title versus title. Number one, I do not for a second believe they would not have a title on the line. They wouldn't go into a like Survivor Series where nothing's on the line.
Exactly.
They're not
it's WrestleMania. I mean, there's going to be something on the line. I mean, yeah, if they're both champions, everything's going to be on the line.
Right. Now, what would be interesting would be, I guess, if Lashley somehow came out of the Rumble as WWE champion, if the Usos got involved somehow. I personally, we're going to get into it a little bit more here on Raw, but I guess we can just get into it now. I personally think Paul Heyman is probably still with Roman.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%.
Yeah. Which means Roman's, look, this is all set up so that Roman's going to come out on the top end of this. If they're not going to do title versus title, that WWE title's got to go somewhere. It wouldn't shock me if Lesnar walked in to the Royal Rumble as WWE champion. He walked out not WWE champion, but the Royal Rumble winner. Mm-hmm. That wouldn't shock me because right now they really like to go all in on things, and having Brock come in and swerve it all. There's no, I mean, because there isn't really even a super obvious Royal Rumble winner right now. Certainly not the way there were like a couple obvious choices last year. I just don't know, like Orton and Riddle, they're both wrapped up in tag stuff. Wouldn't shock me to see Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. I mean, we saw more trust built between them in the main event when Seth Rollins went for the pin, I think on Lashley or Big E, I forget who, and Owens started celebrating when he could have broke up that pin. I think their relationship's going to build. They're going to go after the tag titles. Yeah. Or they'll be in a feud against each other. Either way, I don't think they're going to win the Rumble. Drew's going to be out for a while.
Potentially, yeah. We saw a promo from Big E last night where it wasn't a situation where he's already moved on from being
which
champion.
I like. Yeah.
He wants the title back. So I think you got to put his name in there as far as contenders to win the Rumble still.
I think that's a possibility. I hate saying this name, but Goldberg's a possibility if they're not going to do Brock. But I don't know. I feel like the way everything has gone down over the past, since day one. I don't know that. I think they're just going to do Brock, Roman. Like Brock is literally going to be on SmackDown this Friday.
Yeah.
If they're not going to do title unification, then Brock's not going to have the title walking into WrestleMania.
No, he'll either lose it at the Rumble or at whatever the February Saudi show is.
Yeah, and what better way to freak out Roman Reigns by, he lost the title at the Rumble. Roman's happy. Oh, shit. Brock's in the Rumble now. Or he puts himself in the Rumble, wins that. That's a hell of a moment. It's a hell of a, buzzy moment right there. I don't know. What do you think is most likely to happen?
Oh, I think it's entirely possible that Brock, through interference by the Usos at the behest of Roman Reigns, loses a title at either the Rumble or the Super Showdown in February. Although if it's a Super Showdown, then obviously Brock can't retroactively put himself in the Rumble, which probably happened several weeks prior.
Right, yeah, right, yeah.
So
Rawgate situation.
Yeah, it would take some sort of manipulation of time and space. And as far as I know, no one possesses that technology yet.
Yet. Big qualifier.
Yeah. So, I mean, even when Brock won, I was completely confident that the plans for Mania were still going to be Roman and Brock. I don't think that's changed. I think that's the match they want. I think that's the match they think is going to be a huge money thing for them. And I don't see them deviating from it because they've already laid in so much groundwork for that story. As for Heyman, he's totally going to swerve Brock at WrestleMania. He's going to help Roman win. And the Bloodline, they're going to be arguably stronger than ever.
Yeah.
As far as the WWE title, I don't know. I guess it could be Lashley at the Rumble. That'd be great for Lashley to get that win over Brock, even if it comes with some interference.
Oh, it'd be huge. And he's a full-timer. He's there all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you? I get if the idea is make Brock as strong as possible heading into a match with Roman, then you don't have him eat any pins to anybody, no tapping out to the Hurt Lock or anything like that. Yeah. That could be the philosophy, so you wouldn't see that.
Yeah, that'd be the one. The one I would be hesitant to think that someone was going to beat Brock on the road to Mania for that very reason.
Yeah, right.
With interference or without, because you want to keep him as strong as possible.
Right, yeah.
But then the question is, if the idea is that they're not going to do a sort of champion for champion thing, no title unification, obviously there's going to be a title on the line. That's one thing Alvarez didn't mention is one belt on the line, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like Brock so badly wants the match with Roman, he's like, okay, I don't care about the WWE title, which isn't really a great look for the WWE title, but, you know, he wants Roman. He wants that match. He wants to beat him. He's like, I don't have to put this up. But then what's really in it for Roman at that point?
That sounds so out of character for him.
I know.
Like him sacrificing anything doesn't sound like.
I know you have to do some pretty extreme kind of twists of logic, which isn't outside the realm of possibility for WWE to justify that story. But
yeah,
there's got to be something on the line. It's going to be Roman versus Brock, the main event of night 2 of WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's totally that's the bottom line there. It's just how they're going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I would think that the thing that would motivate Brock is if he did get screwed out of that title against Lashley, and then, I mean, they put over Lashley big time in their little promo last night.
Yes,
and having Brock in that Hurt Lock, when Heyman says, if you're facing Brock head to head, the only way you can get him is by coming up from behind or in his blind side. Well, the Usos, that's what they could be there for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if Lashley comes up to Brock, but again, making Brock look, the image of Brock being pinned is I don't know if that's one thing they're going to do, but
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do, if you go back to, remember when The Undertaker beat Brock and Brock just passed out in Hell's Gate? Could they do something like that where Lashley has him in the Hurt Lock and
it'd be great for Lashley.
Defiantly passes out,
I mean, we've seen Roman tap out, but then Roman is supposed to be partial. He's meant to be vulnerable, but always finds a way to win.
Yeah.
In half of his matches, half of them he just dominates people.
Yeah.
It's a decent balance there. With Brock, I think Brock is supposed to be like a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think he's supposed to show any vulnerability, but they did for that one bit in the match, which might be a tease. That'd be amazing I'm pulling for it, because for Lashley to get that win over Brock, I would love it. God, I would love it. But something's got to give if they're not going to do title versus title. I don't see why they wouldn't want to do title unification and have Brock on both shows. I'm sorry, Roman on both shows.
I mean, the only thing I could think of is if Roman just doesn't want to do that schedule.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
And also, I don't know, like, house show attendance isn't that great as is. And obviously, Roman is a draw, but he can't work all the house shows.
Take him off the house show circuit, man.
I mean,
what are they?
You could make the point that they should just stop doing house shows altogether.
They should. Absolutely, they should. I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't. Oh, man. Anyways. What do you think about Raw overall?
Too much talking. Way too much talking. Oh, my gosh. Too much talking.
There's a lot of talking.
Like, I think in the first hour, there were 2 matches, and both of them were short. The only match that went a significant length was the main event.
Yeah. That was a really fun match.
Which was a lot of fun because it went all over the place. It was a blast. And I wonder if that was the match more or less that was planned for day 1 initially.
Yeah.
That was tons of fun. And I thought Dolph versus Damian Priest was solid. I thought the
crowd was really into that.
Yeah, they were. But I thought the way that Dolph and Bob Roode were trying to manipulate Damian Priest for him to flip the switch and get all angry. They were trying to be clever about it.
Priest becomes essentially a dullard when the trigger thing happens. He just all sense, because I understand the idea is that he's driven by his anger and emotion.
Yeah,
I get that, and that can cloud judgment. But he just comes off as a dullard. It's like the Hulk, It's like when the Hulk is
totally what it is.
Traditional Hulk, not Banner Hulk.
Yeah.
But, he's an absolute moron. He's like barely understands that there's a 10 count happening. He's like, looking at the chair as if it's going to, say something to him. But I thought it was silly sports entertainment. booking that the crowd was really into, and it was a fun match. I thought that was fun stuff.
It was a fun match. But
let's talk about this. The Raw Women's title scene heading into the Rumble. We've got a triple threat coming up next week. Bianca Belair, Doudrop, and Liv Morgan, who I have no idea what case she has.
Well,
or even
I guess
what she made, the case she made last night, it wasn't even convincing.
I guess maybe if you look through the context that Becky is supposed to have her feet on the ropes at day one when she pinned her.
It makes all the sense in the world.
Then it makes sense.
But that didn't happen. It didn't happen.
I know.
I was so close. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Becky easily handled your finish and countered it with a manhandle.
Well, up until that point, Liv made it a really competitive match. She was close. She was close. She's as close as she's ever been to becoming champion. So, in her mind, hey, if I have one more chance, I can do it this time. It's just interesting that they brought together Bianca and Becky already, and that's kind of something I didn't want their paths to cross until they're setting up the Mania match.
Oh, I liked it though. I was fine with that because whenever somebody, Bianca was right. She comes out and says, "Hey, I stepped aside for a second, but you and I still have business." Mm-hmm. She was like, you had your chance, Liv, and then they go at it. So there's a triple threat between those three. I see Liv Morgan coming out of that.
She'll pin Doudrop to get the win. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
exactly.
they're gonna save Bianca versus Becky for WrestleMania.
Although if Bianca's there, is Bianca going to put herself? Or are they going to have the SmackDown, a SmackDown winner for the Rumble? Are they going to not have Bianca be in the Rumble now, or is she going to do the thing where she pulls double duty? She feels like she gets screwed by Doudrop or something, and then she enters herself in the Rumble.
I kind of feel like Bianca versus Becky. That's a story that's a match you could make without Bianca having to win the Rumble.
Sure. Yeah. I really like the optic of her winning.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Winning two in a row and winning championships in the main event 2 years in a row. Yeah, it's great. It is great. I won't disagree with that.
Is there anybody on the who's on the SmackDown side that's, I guess Sasha, huh?
Yeah.
She might be the Rumble winner there.
Or Bayley. If Bayley is cleared to
come
back.
Bayley comes back, huh? Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Bayley comes back, wins the Rumble, and then Sasha beats Charlotte for the belt between now and Mania. That wouldn't surprise me.
So it would just be Sasha versus Bayley at Mania. Charlotte's left out. That's interesting. I think they probably might do like a triple threat. I don't know. All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word in from our sponsor, Chime. Hey, Larson.
Yes, Steve.
Happy New Year, friendo.
Happy New Year to you, Steve.
Man, with the new year comes new opportunities, like a chance to leave overdraft fees behind.
Yeah, the last thing you need when you're already low on money are overdraft fees. And with Chime, an award-winning app and debit card, you can keep your hard-earned money without paying overdraft fees.
Yeah, eligible members can overdraft up to $200 on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals with no overdraft fees.
So make your first good decision of the new year and join over 10 million people using Chime. Sign up takes only 2 minutes and does not affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/raw. That's chime.com/raw.
Banking services provided by and debit card issued by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank N.A. members FDIC. Eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Overdraft only applies to debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. Limits start at $20 and may be increased up to $200 by Chime. See chime.com/spotme. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into it. Let me hit my notes
Sure. Show opens up with a recap package of day one. Come back to the arena, and then the lights come down, and they come back up, and Paul Heyman's standing in the ring.
The crowd's confused. He's very orange. So he's there, and he's just got his chest all puffed out. Says, "Tonight, as an advocate, I'd like to introduce you to my client and new reigning, defending, undisputed WWE heavyweight champion of the world, Brock Lesnar." Brock shows up, grabs some steel stairs, chucks him into the ring. Then he steps on him like it's a podium. Paul gives him the microphone. He says, "I'd like to give a big shout out to my buddy Roman Reigns, who's probably at home watching, tuning in to see the new real heavyweight champion, Brock Lesnar. And then he says, sort of softly, "Get well soon, buddy." I felt like that was a shoot.
Yeah, no.
He says,
it felt fairly genuine.
Yeah, he says, "Now, South Carolina, acknowledge me," with a big smile on his face. He says, "I'd also like to acknowledge my advocate for advocating my free agency, for pulling the strings to help make me WWE champion. Paul, thank you." Gives Paul the mic. Paul says, he says, "If you think it's interesting out here, you should see what it's like behind the scenes when I negotiated for Brock to be a free agent. And then when Brock showed up to become a champion at day one, and I negotiated a fatal 4-way to become a fatal 5-way. He says, so what now? He works on reigning, on defending. So tonight, he awaits the winner of a 4-way. Let's run down the participants." Talks about Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. He says, "These two are a team. They work together." This was oddly sort of venomous towards Seth Rollins. He says, but this is a smart plan for a stupid person like Seth Rollins who knows his wife will leave him if he loses to Brock, and he will, and she won't leave him for Kevin Owens because he can't beat Brock either. Maybe they should be traded to SmackDown, where a certain tribal chief can't even go a week without his counsel before he gets COVID.
Yeah.
He says, let's talk about Bobby Lashley. Now, there's a worthy challenger. Brock and Bobby have never met. They've never even met backstage. They've never even shook hands or said hi to each other. It's like they've avoided each other, but neither man avoids anything in life. He says the first time they met was in that match at day one. Lashley speared Lesnar through a barricade. The second time they met in that same match, Brock had given everyone but Lashley an F5, and Lashley speared him and damn near won. The third time they met in that match still, he put Brock in the Hurt Lock, and I told Brock this to his face. It didn't look like he could get out of that. On all these occasions, Bobby was hitting Lashley from a blind side. Bobby was hitting Lesnar from a blind side. Mm-hmm. So if he wins tonight, he'll have to beat Brock face to face, and that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
He says there's another man tonight, Big E. He's the odds-on favorite. Big E is a great champion. He did WWE justice. He's a credit to WWE, to the universe, to the lineage of the WWE title, and he would still be champion if he didn't step in the ring with Brock Lesnar. We have nothing but respect and admiration for Big E. If he wins tonight, sir, it'll be an honor to witness that match. You'd lose that match, but it would still be an honor to watch you lose to the winner of the 5-way, reigning, defending, blah, 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 Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. It was great to hear Heyman put over Lashley and Big E. It was pretty awesome.
The Lashley stuff makes me think that, made me think that, oh yeah, Lashley is totally going to win. The Big E stuff, it just feels like consolation for doing a good job as he could have as champion. But I just don't know. It doesn't sound, by paying respect to Big E, it seems disrespectful in a weird way. Because I think that it's like, hey, great job. You're out of the title scene now.
Well, I think it is somewhat consolation, but I think it seemed from the heart.
It's sincere. It's
sincere, and
sincere.
I didn't necessarily take it as disrespectful. It was him saying, "Hey, you had 2 months, 3 months of this. You did your best. You comported yourself like an absolute superstar. Hats off to you. Essentially, hope to see it happen again down the road."
Let me correct myself. Disrespectful to his current chances at the WWE title. I'll put it that way. Not disrespectful to the man at all. But yeah, it just seemed like, hey, you did great. Now we're going to move on from you. Mm-hmm. That's how it came off.
After that, this was weird. So we had a quick thing with Orton and Riddle backstage, and then it cut away back to the ring, and then it cuts back, and it's Orton and Riddle again backstage, unless I had some weird thing going off my DVR.
I didn't notice it, but I was probably. Did it go into commercial after the Heyman bit?
Yeah. But before it went to commercial, then it was Orton and Riddle backstage. Like they walk in and then they cut back to the ring. It's weird.
I didn't notice that. I just saw
maybe it was
backstage
with my DVR. So anyways, Orton's backstage. Riddle walks in. He's got sunglasses. He's got some gold chains around his neck. Orton asked, first of all, where you been? And no to all of this that you got going on here. And Riddle says, wasn't it awesome hanging out with Migos at day one? You got to admit, I got some sweet connections. I can't get the music out of my head. Maybe we should start our own rap group. He says, word on the street is Swim Shady, my pet fish, is available. And Orton says, all right, give me this. Give me the sunglasses and the chains. And so Riddle takes them off, hand them to Randy. And Orton says, I don't know or care how you got all these celebrity connections. I do want to know about the New Year's resolutions that we have been talking about. And Riddle goes, oh, yeah, we talked about going to the Grand Canyon, going grocery shopping, and we need a couple things, getting on Farmville because it's really blowing up. And, oh, yeah, I got to listen to Randy more. Floppy says Orton didn't have his title on in the first bit, then went to commercial, came back, he had it on his shoulder. So Orton says, yeah, and last week they were on the same page. Riddle, you listen to me and look what happened. You beat Gable, I beat Otis, and at day one we retained our tag titles, and you know why they did that? Because their name is, and Riddle does the what, who.
What, who, chicka, RK Bro. Yeah. Then we had RK Bro versus the Alpha Academy. You know, man, I like the simplicity of this storytelling. It's really difficult to hit an RKO on Otis. There's some brawling before the bell. But Riddle, obsessed with trying to be Randy Orton, tries an RKO on Otis, and instead he eats Otis's finisher and loses the match for them. I think it's simple, and I like it. It's, you know,
I do.
This dude is a tree trunk, in the words of Orton.
Or in the words of, I think Gable called him a tree trunk of a man too during his promo before the match. Yeah. I mean, this is in-ring storytelling that I like to see. You're telling stories based on or in these matches rather than having 5 minutes of dialogue backstage.
Yeah, right.
You know,
yeah.
I just wish
Which
Raw
they did anyways.
I know,
but yeah, I see what you're saying.
I just wish they would do more of that because you don't necessarily need all this stuff backstage because at its core, it's the same thing Randy's been telling Riddle for a week. Don't worry about all this other stuff. Worry about keeping these titles. Worry about staying focused. And I'd rather see that story play out week after week in the ring and actually really good matches at a given time. This was like maybe 3 minutes. This was super short.
Yeah, it was really short, yeah.
Give me a good 15-minute match telling that story rather than 5 minutes of talking and 2 minutes of wrestling.
Yeah, totally, yeah. It'll be interesting to see. Like this feud, I'm legitimately, okay, cool. I wonder how they're going to approach it now because obviously Alpha Academy is going to want an actual shot at those
Rumble,
titles,
probably,
which will probably happen at the Rumble, so after that, we added a MVP Lashley interview. MVP puts over how big a task it is for him, for Lashley to win the main event tonight, and then Lashley just says, Brock Lesnar fears me. Cut to an Amos interview. And Kevin's got a question about how do you react to facing AJ Styles tonight, and Amos just puts his hand on Kevin's face and says, "That's how I react."
Walks
then
out.
we had some,
and then we had Tamina and Akira Tozawa taking on Dana Brooke and Reggie. They said this was a 24/7 division match, but I don't think the title was on the line.
It wasn't, but that's why I noticed that too. But I think that's why they're just telling us what division the participants are in, not that it's a 24/7 championship match, because they didn't say championship. They just said 24/7.
And like Zonda says here, how could it be? It couldn't be because it was a mixed tag match, not a 1-on-1 bout. But
it's like we know that it's the 24/7 division. They have the WWE. They have to spell everything out.
That's why they have 15 million recaps during the show.
They assume they're getting new viewers,
seemingly by the minute
that need
too.
to know by the minute. They need recaps. No, the same idiots are watching your program every single week. We don't need recaps.
And
I'm putting us, by the way, in
including
that
us,
category.
Yes, I assume that was the case. So towards the end here, Tozawa is looking to hit Reggie with a kick in Akira Tozawa and Tamina's own corner. Reggie evades, so Tamina gets kicked instead. She slaps Tozawa, and then Reggie follows with his finish to get the win.
Oh, so multiple people in our chat said that if Dana got pinned, she would lose the title.
Oh, all right then. Well, I guess that makes sense then.
Again, emphasis, the idiots over here watching, not paying attention to that
Watching.
Just
because it's on in front of our faces doesn't mean we're watching it, huh?
Here's a lot more talking here in a Becky Lynch promo.
See, I thought a lot of this was very good about calling herself a work of art. I thought that was good stuff. It's just there's this. You have the beginning of the show. You go 23 minutes or 25 minutes before you get to a wrestling match. You have two short matches, and you get another 20-minute segment of all talking.
Yeah, the show did proceed very slowly last night.
It did.
So Becky comes out and says, there's something about the new year that inspires hope. Doesn't matter if you failed over the last year or if you failed the last 5 years or your whole life. When that clock strikes new year, new you, right? All those women back there at the top of their New Year's resolution list is to become Raw Women's Champion. But at the top of mine is to stay Raw Women's Champion. They can't beat me. I'd be remiss if I said I hadn't taken the time to look back and ask myself, what have I become? And I came to the realization that I am a work of art. She compares herself to a Van Gogh. She says, you may not understand it, but it makes you feel. I make you feel like good art. The other thing is, art reveals the truth. I'm like WWE's Vincent Van Gogh, which is a good line. Mm-hmm. So I'm here to tell you the truth, that you won't lose those last 10 pounds, that you won't get that job promotion, and you're never going to get out of South Carolina. And all those girls back there, they're not going to win the Raw Women's Championship. If you need the proof, look at Liv. She promised you all she'd win, and on the first day of the new year, she broke that promise to herself and all of you. And then Liv comes out
and it says,
starts talking.
New year, new ugly jacket, same delusional Becky.
It's bad. This was not good stuff. Man.
Yeah, it says, I was back there listening to you say that I came short at day one, but there's no one harder on myself than myself, so please, don't worry about me. What I was thinking, I know just how close I was to winning on Saturday, but you did get one thing wrong. The one thing that I promised to myself is I would give it my all every time I stepped in the ring. And that's exactly what I did at day one. And Becky says, well, that's lovely. Maybe one day you'll win the Raw Women's Championship, but that'll be when I retire because this belt isn't going anywhere. This brings Bianca out. She tells Becky, I'm sick and tired of hearing you come out every week and acting like you're untouchable. Says, Liv doesn't believe the hype, and neither do I. She says, I may have taken a dewdrop detour. I stepped aside to allow other people a time to go after the title, but now I'm right back in line for you. And Becky says, the two of you have fallen victim to my routine. Beat, sleep, repeat. Maybe the two of you can get together and start a support group. A group of people who almost beat me but came short. She says, oh, wait, that already exists. It's called the Women's Locker Room. And Liv says, what do you know about the Women's Locker Room? You haven't been there in years. And she says to Bianca, no offense, Becky and I are kind of in the middle of something. Could you just go to the back? And Bianca says, no offense taken. But at the end of the day, Becky and I got a score to settle that goes back way before this whole beef started. So Becky says, well, it sounds like this is something you two have to settle one-on-one. You've been in my spotlight long enough. So why don't the two of you get out of my ring, decide who it's going to be, and just let me know later. And so Liv and Bianca attack Becky. They toss her out of the ring. Then they start fighting. Bianca's looking for a KOD on Liv. Becky breaks that up, hits Belair with a manhandle slam.
Yeah. I get Bianca is just great.
Oh, she's fantastic.
Like she comes off as a star. Liv's not there yet. Liv's not there yet.
Totally.
She's just not. The line about. Now, here's the thing. I know she's given these lines. She's given these lines. The line about like you haven't been in the women's locker room in years. I don't know. It's lame. Like the writing is lame.
Yeah, the writing is not good.
And her delivery doesn't help it at all. Anyways, backstage, Kevin Owens finds Seth. Seth's like, oh, I need to figure out what to do about Heyman. And he starts talking about like stapling his mouth shut or even possibly castrating him. And Kevin Owens is like, look, man, we need to figure out what to do tonight. We're in the same place we were in before. We're fighting Big E and Bobby Lashley. We got to stick to the plan. We take care of them. One of us wins. It doesn't matter which one. And then we help each other in the match against Lesnar. Mm-hmm. And then at WrestleMania, we give the other guy the shot. It's perfect. And Seth's like, I love it. It's a great plan. And he says, I can trust you and you can trust me. Sounds like a plan. He walks away and Kevin's like, I can trust you, right? So there's some doubt there.
Says, you're not lying, are you?
Yeah.
We'll get another quick match between Nikki ASH, Rhea Ripley taking on Carmella and Zelina Vega for the tag titles. This, lasted 2 minutes? Super short. The finish saw Zelina knock Rhea off the apron. Nikki's looking for some sort of move out of a fireman's carry. Instead, Zelina reverses into a rope for the win. Carmella never even got tagged in for this match. It was so short.
I don't even know if she was on the apron.
She wasn't. She was on the floor, I think, for most of it.
She was on the floor with the mask on, yeah, which is hilarious. The mask is great. But they need to get to the part where Nikki does something. Like, they lost. This is the tag match, the title match. They lost. Time to move this along. Yes. Okay, do whatever Nikki's going to do.
Instead, we're going to get 3 more weeks of it.
I hope not, but it would not shock me at all if next week on Raw we had Nikki versus Carmella. You know?
I know. Where Nikki says, I need to prove to myself and to you, Rhea, that I can beat Carmella or Zelina. And she loses again. And then it's just going to frustrate Rhea probably.
Yeah. After that, we had Street Profits versus Apollo and Aziz. But before that, we had a little Profits promo where they both declared for the Rumble. Mm-hmm. So they're, I believe, the second and third people to declare after Johnny Knoxville.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we learned the fourth and fifth too later on in the show.
Correct. Was that the Mysterio's promo?
Yeah, that which happened right after. So we had a commercial after the Street Profits promo. After they'd come to the ring,
Yeah.
we come back and we get a Mysterio's promo. Yeah, where Ray says that they're going to be in the Rumble too.
The length of time between an entrance and a match starting is growing lengthier. Although a couple of weeks ago, that Viking Raiders one was so egregious. It was like literally 15
It was 15 minutes.
It was actually
15 minutes.
I don't even think that's an exaggeration. I think we actually were texting each other and like we kept count of it.
It was 15 minutes. It was awful. Anyways, Street Profits get the win here. Dawkins hits a spine buster on Cruz. Ford follows with the frog splash to get the win. It'd be great to see Apollo Crews be able to get some wins here sometime soon. That isn't happening yet, though.
Yeah, I know. But you know what, man? This is the one thing that I appreciate. I'm with you on the glass being half empty, but at the same time, before his rebrand and before they gave him Aziz,
he wasn't even on TV.
He was literally not on TV.
I know.
At least now he has a defined heel persona. He's got a terrific entrance. He's got that big dude Aziz with him. He's on TV, and he could be called to do something cool at any point. I don't know if they're going to, but he's in a better spot now than he was before.
Yeah, but he's not in as good of a spot as he was when he was on SmackDown.
For that period of time, he was in a really good spot on SmackDown. In a good spot. I agree. Raw didn't do him any didn't do him any help. Another guy who is not being helped at all with this new gimmick is Damian Priest. He has an interview where, as opposed to before when he was just sort of a relaxed version of himself, he just doesn't even seem to understand.
No, that bit where he's like, "I'm going to win." Oh, yeah. So if I could keep my composure, I'll win. Well, I'll win anyways.
So it was announced early in the show that this is the match is if Priest loses by DQ or countout, he loses his title. Dolph wins the title.
Yeah.
So obviously, what Dolph and Rude are going to do is try to take advantage of his hot temper of his Damian side, and get him DQ'd so that Dolph wins the title. So he's interviewed about it, and he doesn't seem to be really clear on it because he's like, "Oh yeah, so they're taking away the champion's advantage. If I can keep this cool, calm, collected Priest side, I'll beat Dolph. But you know what? I'm going to beat him either way."
Well, hold on a second, because when he said, "I'll beat Dolph if I stay calm, cool, and collective," I felt like he took a beat. It's like, "Oh, I got to say, I'm going to beat him regardless." Did you get that too?
Yeah, I did. I was like, "No, man, you're confused right now because if you snap, your angry side is going to get you DQ'd. That's the whole point of the match."
I know.
So why aren't you talking about the necessity? Therein lies the tension. The necessity to stay cool, calm, and collected. I can beat Dolph anyways, regardless, or I can beat him as long as I stay cool, calm, and collected. But you can't say I'm going to beat him even if I do snap, because that's the whole point of the match.
I know. But at the same time, it's like he can't say I'm going to lose if I lose my temper either,
Well, I do think that you have to put across, hey, I need to be careful in this match, because that's the whole point of the match is I need to be careful. I need to watch it, because if I snap, there's the chance I could lose.
Yeah, that's different than, I mean, there's the chance he could lose if he snaps, but he can't just go out to promo saying like, "Oh, if I lose my temper, I'm done for." He can't say that.
You have to tease it a little bit, though, because therein lies the tension of the match.
No, I understand that.
Yeah. But to say, doesn't matter. Even if I snap, I'm going to beat him.
I know.
Sort of kills the drama of the match.
A little bit. Although Dolph tried. Before we get to that match.
It was a good match, by the way.
It was fun.
It was a good match. This is the promo itself. Kind of honestly, not necessary.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to tease some tension here, which he didn't.
They didn't really. So we get Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville backstage. Doudrop walks in. She's complaining about Bianca and Liv getting another chance at the Raw Women's Championship. Pearce is like, "Why are you yelling at me?" And Doudrop says, "Be quiet." What'd you say? Something. She calls him Grandpa.
I don't. Yeah,
I think she says, "I'm tired, Grandpa." Or she says, "I'm tired of this, Grandpa." That's why it says WWE Universe is tired of the same women getting chance after chance after chance for the women's title. I demand I be given my first opportunity.
Sony's like, whoa, we don't demand things around here.
We just don't hand things out.
Yeah, but she sets up a triple threat for Liv, Bianca, and Doudrop for that title shot.
Yeah,
next week on Raw. So that should be a good match. Hopefully they give it like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I hope so. Instead of 5 to 8 like they've given most undercard matches of late.
True. I look, if they treat it the same way they treated last night's main event, big win. I think that'll be great.
Yeah, that'll be great.
So this Priest versus Dolph match happens. So the finish, the real shenanigans. Of course, Rude is there to sort of needle Priest the entire time. Mm-hmm. Rude dumps Priest off the top. Dolph gets 2 with that. Priest he goes to the outside, gets a chair. Ref starts counting. He's looking down at Rude and realizes, I don't really have time to execute this chair shot, so I should probably get in. So he gets in at 9.5. Dolph's in there. Priest still has the chair. Dolph starts begging him to hit him, right? Rude gets up on the apron. He's like, come on, hit him. So they're all like, and Priest keeps on staring at the chair. Ref's like, it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
So he's staring at the chair. He's like, I don't know what to do now. And so he makes the right decision. He throws it at Rude. Dolph takes that opportunity to get a zigzag in. He only gets 2 with it, though. Priest then counters a super kick attempt with a reckoning. Crowd is really into it. Priest picks up the win, keeps his title.
Yeah, Dolph did a good job of really telling the story of this match.
He did. He absolutely did.
He did a great job of it. After that, more of this. So Vince is on the phone in his office. There's a knock at the door. He asked, who's there? Austin Theory enters. And Vince says to whoever he's talking to, I'll have to call you back. He says to Theory, I asked who it is, not come in. And Austin Theory says, oh, I'm sorry, I'll leave. And Vince says, no. You apologize. It's a sign of weakness. I never apologize. And Theory says, well, I didn't mean to interrupt. And Vince says, no. When people say that, they don't mean it. They meant to interrupt.
Is this just him getting his, quirks out into like, oh, I've got all these things.
I just feel like he thinks this stuff is funny. Vince thinks this is funny dialogue.
Do you think it's true? I mean, do you think that he believes it?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I'm not looking that much into it.
He saw like an old Jerry Seinfeld set from like 1992.
Maybe.
Like an old Brian Regan set or something like that.
Could be. It's all this observational humor from Vince McMahon, huh?
Yeah. Is he looking to land a sitcom on ABC in 1993?
Is he gonna write the Ovaltine bit? Rewrite it?
Why do they call it Ovaltine? I mean, it's round. They should
call it round. The jar is round. The lid is round. They should call it Roundtine.
You're in the Rumble.
Yeah, I know. So he's like, Austin's like, I just came here to ask about my rematch against Finn. And Vince is like, well, you lost to Finn, but then you made up for it, and then some when you attacked him backstage. You beat him up. We haven't seen Finn since. That's an admirable quality, man, because if you can't beat someone one way, you find another treacherous way to do it, and you always beat them. And Theory says, well, he didn't expect it. Finn didn't expect it. Something happened to him. It was a surprise for Finn. And Vince says, yes, that's right. Have a seat. And Vince says, I have a surprise for you. You're going to be in the Rumble. If you win, you get a main event WrestleMania. And Austin Theory's super excited.
Gareth has a good point here. What if Vince next week he's got a bowl of dip with some chips? Austin Theory comes in, he takes one, dip, bites it, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?"
Just does this.
What are you doing? You can't double dip. Are you double dipping? You're number 30.
No, number 1. He'd be number 1 for double dipping.
Yeah, no, he turns it around though.
Oh, all right.
But I like that. That's admirable. You should take what you want in life. If you want to double dip, you double dip. Just not mine. You're number 30.
Speaking of long promos, next we got Miz and Maurice out in the ring. This went on for a while.
You know what, though? Miz should always have Maurice with him.
Oh, yeah.
She should never be. They are so goddamn charming together. It's like a 180 from just him on Miz TV.
Well, you know what it is.
Him and Morrison had good chemistry, too.
You know what it is Maurice is super charming.
She is super charming. More charming. Yeah, you're right. And when she has those little asides, when she corrects his French pronunciation, it's thoroughly charming. Mm-hmm. I actually am really looking forward to this match. I'm really looking forward to this feud. There was one minor quibble I had at the end of this, so I'll get to it when we get to it. Do you want to do Edge or do you want to do Miz?
You can do Miz. It's too much talking here.
All right.
You gave me the opposite. You gave me the choice, so I'm making the best choice for Larson.
That's fine. That's good. That's good. You should be selfish sometimes. So Miz says, and here's the thing, I truncated a lot of this. He says, what happened at day one was a tragedy. I'm a 2-time Grand Slam champion. Edge is only a 1-time Grand Slam champion. I was going to lay him out to rest, and then his wife showed up. She allowed Edge to cheat and steal a victory. He deserved to lose. You know it, and I know it because of what he did to us last week. They show the footage from last week. The crowd laughs. Miz gives him shit for that. Says, you only enjoyed it because your lives are so miserable. But your disgusting aura doesn't affect us because true love always wins, and we're in true love. After that, though, I vowed I would end Edge's career. But when I got in the ring, it wasn't Brood Edge. It wasn't old Edge. It wasn't the rated R superstar Edge, the Hall of Famer. It was the Edge that hid behind his wife. What kind of man hides behind his wife? Of course, the irony there is that he did the same thing. The crowd starts chanting, you. He says, what kind of man relies on his wife to fight his own battles? And Maurice says, you would never do that, Miz, because you are strong and brave and handsome. That's why I married you. I love you so much. And I'm like, oh, this is actually really sweet. Like, you see, Maurice actually has a tough time being in bad guy character because you could see the love on her face for the Miz, which is true and pure, and she's tickled to be there with the Miz. And she says, if Beth was here tonight, I'd punch her right in the face.
Of course. Beth's music hits.
And Beth, yeah.
She walks out, followed by Edge. They walk to the ring, and Beth tells Maurice, you were saying? Maurice does nothing. Edge then says, well, that's what we figured would happen. Says, tells Miz, most people would just take your L and move on. Unfortunately, I knew you better than that. I knew the Miz would come out and complain and make every excuse as to why Edge won the match. One of the excuses Edge brought up was that Miz crapped his pants. Hasn't been confirmed whether that actually happened or not, though. Anyways.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a reference to anything. Has Miz been reported to crap his pants? We know other people have.
Not that I'm aware of, but we'll investigate.
Yeah, we'll investigate.
He calls Miz a hypocrite, says for once the Miz is and then after he calls Miz a hypocrite, Miz has got nothing. He's not saying anything. And Ed says, for once here, the Miz is at a loss for words. I didn't know that was possible. And by the way, I didn't ask Beth to fight my battles. Beth then says, it was all my idea. And Edge says, well, I have an idea as well. We're going to give you, Miz and Maurice, what you want. Imagine the marquee in huge letters, Miz and Maurice, the It Couple versus the Rated R Superstar and the Glamazon, the Grit Couple at the Royal Rumble. And Miz asks Edge, are you serious? And
I love this. Didn't mean to catch up. I love this bit because Miz just goes on and on praising his wife.
Puts her over.
And Maurice,
huge.
And Maurice just is glowing the entire time. He says, are you serious? Maurice, gorgeous, intelligent, vivacious, executive producer of Ms. and Mrs., owner of her own perfume line, one of the longest reigning Divas champions in history, teaming together to go against you and Beth Phoenix. Beth says, Miz, a simple yes or no would suffice. And Miz says, we accept. And the Maurice starts protesting.
Not happy about it.
Beth makes her flinch with a fake punch. My only problem with that is that I kind of wish Miz was the one to start protesting, accepting the match instead of, I wish Maurice was the one to step up and say, I accept, and Miz starts protesting. I'm kind of curious if the protestations are a ruse as well.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
That's what I'm thinking it might be. But I love this. I love this feud. A couple of late 30s and early, I guess Miz and Maurice are probably in their early 40s at this point.
Well, yeah, maybe. Edge is in his mid 40s at least.
Oh, yeah. A couple of people our age fighting it out.
Roughly.
I dig that, man. Some married couples, some family people. I dig this, man. I think they're all trying their best. It's always best when they're all trying their best not to laugh and not to crack. Exactly. And I kind of feel like that's the situation here. You know, these are probably all best friends, you know?
Oh, yeah. They're probably all friendly backstage. Next, we got a Big E interview. He says being WWE champ meant a lot to him and meant something to a lot of people, too. Says there's no shame in losing to Brock, but what we don't do is get kicked and stay down. We don't wallow in self-pity. What we do is make sure our next chapter is our best chapter. Tonight, I have the opportunity to right those wrongs. Tonight, I start my path back to reclaiming what is mine, my WWE Championship, and I'll be damned if there's a soul on earth who can stop me.
Mm-hmm.
It's Good stuff. Good stuff.
Let's see here. Maggie confirms Maurice is 38. Miz is 41. So yeah,
there we go. There we go.
They're just a terrific couple.
Oh,
man.
charming, endlessly charming, endlessly charming.
Edge sporting that Queens of the Stone Age shirt too. I do appreciate also that WWE social media team tweeted out the picture of Edge in that shirt and with just the phrase, "I want to make it with you." One of their lesser known songs.
Yep.
After that, we had AJ Styles versus Omos. Were you surprised at this? It was just a dominant Omos victory, quick against is it just me, or I'm wondering if AJ is out there to show this is like, he's saying, hey, this dude's ready. He's ready, and I'm going to show you that he's ready, and I'm going to bump all over the place for him and show you that if I can do this, he should be able to be good on his own. I don't know that situation, but I mean, you got to figure Omos has been under his wing, and oftentimes when you see him like that on camera, that's how it is kind of off camera as well.
Maybe
in terms
at the same
of AJ
time, though, if AJ's in a match and his job for that match is to make someone look good, he's going to make him look good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I do kind of wonder, hey, AJ, I would think that there's got to be some element of, hey, he's really taken Omos under his wing. I'm sure Omos is probably learning a lot from him. And AJ's probably proud of, hey, I think this dude's ready,
Yeah, could be.
So,
could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Anyways, yeah.
Omos completely destroys it.
Annihilates him. Hits the choke bomb to get the win. Then we had a quick video package about Alexa Bliss. Journey back to Raw starting next week. So it'll be interesting to see what character gimmick she has now, whether they've moved on from what she was doing before. I honestly have no idea what they're going to do. They said it's been 4 months since she was last on TV at Extreme Rules.
I hope it's something kind of different.
Me
Not
too.
just different in terms of presentation wise. It'd be cool if they did like a little documentary or something, something neat. It might just be like some silly sit down interview. I don't know.
It could be more Alexa's Playground or something like that.
Oh, please no. Please no. After that, we had our main event.
A lot of fun.
Oh, man. This match was a fucking blast. This was an absolute blast. They went from the ring. So it started out sort of like a 2-on-2. I mean, honestly, the entire time is kind of like just a tornado tag match.
Yeah.
With a lot of Owens and Rollins versus Lashley and Big E, even to the extent that Owens and Rollins ran away from Lashley and Big E up the stairs to the concourse where there was more action. But there was a bit towards the first big moment was Lashley going for a spear on the outside on Owens, but Owens gets out of the way, so Lashley goes through the barricade. Owens trying to get Seth then to go after Big E while he recovers. Big E's able to get the jump on them, but then they were able to overpower him. Double power bomb through the announce table. They go to commercial. Back from commercial. Everybody's in the ring. Big E's fine.
I know. Oh, there was something. Yeah. Oh, like early in the Dolph Priest match, there's a situation where Priest could get counted out because I think Dolph hits him with DDT on the floor. And it's like there could be a title change there. Do they allow that moment to sit there so you could appreciate the drama? No, they cut to commercial.
Raw rolls on.
I'm like, that's like an important story beat potentially.
Yeah. So I mentioned the running up into the crowd bit to the concourse. I think Kevin Owens gets put through a merch table, which leads to the other three coming back, and they start brawling through the crowd, and they're like sort of at the entrance, and there's that overhang there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Kevin Owens makes his appearance. He does a senton off that.
That's great.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was absolutely. This was such a fun match.
It really was. In the end, Lashley pretty much spears everybody. Kevin Owens last gets the win. And then Brock, they cut to Brock. He's watching backstage. Kevin Patrick walks up, says, "Do you have a comment?" And Brock just says, "Well, tell Roman I'll see him on SmackDown this Friday."
Yep, that's the big story they're heading into WrestleMania for. So that'll be interesting to see what twists and turns are there. Let's go ahead and open up to questions. If you're in the Twitch chat live, do us a favor, highlight some questions. Could be about Raw, could be about whatever you want it to be.
Yep.
I've got a thread here on the Patreon as well. If you want to hear Going in Raw ad-free, we have that available along with our bonus content, $5 a month at patreon.com/Stephen Larson. Today at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, we've got our first bonus episode of the week, some Friendo Club TV. Speaking of Friendo Club TV, we also have Friendo Club TV channel chock full of odds and ends from here in the Going In Raw community and the Going In Raw show. Cody Buckley, a new patron here. Want to say what's up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for the support. So first up, we've got Rich. Dirty Rich says, why does Damian Priest always look so tired? Because he's not sure what the hell this gimmick thing is supposed to like. He's still trying to figure out how to properly portray Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, I know. He was going really well for him.
It's like, before I just had to be myself. He didn't even have to do the deep voice anymore. No. He was just being himself.
I know. It was so weird.
And he's thoroughly charming.
He really was. He was just cool dude. His character was cool dude, and now he's got to have a gimmick.
Now he's got to be a guy who worries about snapping.
White Brownie asks, what would you prefer? Bianca wins next week. It's Becky versus Bianca at the Rumble, or Doudrop gets the win and Bianca gets into a program with Liv.
I don't know why I just did that to my chair.
I think it'd be cool if Doudrop didn't end up winning that triple threat next week, and we get
I agree with
that feud.
I think Bianca versus Liv could be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. That could be cool. But then the Rumble's only like a couple of weeks. So I don't know. I mean, I guess you could do Bianca versus. They're not going to do Bianca versus Liv. They're not going to have the crowd choose on that one because it'd be bad news for Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see here. Wolfpack for life. If Hogan, Stone Cold, Rock, Cena, and Roman never existed, wow.
Oh, wow.
Who would have taken their place during their era? So if Hogan didn't exist, I think it would have been Piper. What do you think? He obviously wasn't Big Jack Dude, and he played a great bad guy. But who do you think would have replaced, I don't know how far they could have gone with Orndorff.
Well,
in terms of nationalized.
Maybe Macho Man.
Macho Man showed up in 85?
Mm-hmm. Just a year after.
It was
Hogan.
after Mania, though.
Just the year after Hogan won the title. But I guess maybe they would have pushed everything.
All that would have been pushed back a little bit?
Maybe, yeah.
Could be. Stone Cold and The Rock. I wonder if Shamrock ever could have been anywhere close to the level of Steve Austin. His promo, definitely no. But if he was booked in the same spots, I know Shamrock was reffing the Stone Cold Bret Hart match, but if that same finish would have featured Shamrock.
So here's the thing about Shamrock is he's, at that point, a highly decorated UFC fighter, was in Pancrase, a well-decorated and highly respected MMA athlete. Stone Cold was kind of an everyman.
Sure, yeah,
and that was part of his appeal. Ken Shamrock, because of all that, is not an everyman. He's an elite athlete.
Give me who would have been there. I mean, I kind of feel like their roster was so deep.
Yeah.
That I don't know if they. I don't know.
Mick Foley.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Vince ever looked at Mick and was like, he's the guy.
I don't know until Stone Cold became the guy if Vince ever looked at Steve Austin and said, that's the guy.
No, but Mick Foley was Mick Foley. I mean, I think Mankind sort of maxed out his ceiling. Mick Foley, I think, maxed out his ceiling. Dr. Death. Rockabilly.
Oh, gosh.
White Brownie has it. Lethal Weapon, Steve Blackman.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Cena had all sorts of people that could have been the next Cena, I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, he had Orton, Batista, Lesnar, just even his class. Yeah. Roman. Again, the roster is really deep. Take your pick. And if Vince wanted to shove somebody else down their throats.
Yeah, if it was Seth instead, it would be Seth. If it was Kevin Owens, it'd be Kevin Owens.
Al Snow could have been the next Austin.
All right.
It's so weird, though. It's so funny when you go back to WCW and you see Austin then. When you see Austin in ECW, he was a bit closer to Stone Cold there. But when you see Austin as even under the wing of the $1 Million Man, you don't see it. Mm-mm. You don't see it.
Nope.
Once he became Austin, it was like, holy shit. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. What if, I wonder if I don't know. I wonder if the confluence of events, I wonder, sometimes I do wonder if HBK was just sort of like, see the writing on the wall. Oh, my back. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Jorge D with Johnny Knoxville in the Rumble. Every WWE wrestler wants to impress Knoxville with a jackass type stunt to be in the next movie. Who would impress Knoxville, and what's the stunt?
It'd be Zayn or Owens, if assuming they're in the Rumble. Or Montez. Montez does some crazy shit. Moses supposes, if Bobby nor Roman take the title from Brock, who will? I would love it to be
Braun Breaker.
No. Yes. Von Wagner, clearly. Wait till the draft. Sammy comes over. Sammy somehow gets that title off Brock. Sammy aligns with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins.
Oh, wow.
And they all three of them are able to take that title off Brock, and Sammy's the guy. God, how amazing would that be? Let's see here. So this is interesting. Maria Beekman says, will Bayley be back for the Rumble? Xavier Gray here in our comments says, no, Bayley won't be medically cleared to wrestle until after WrestleMania. She's been out due to an injury since last July. I don't know if I've ever had like an actual concrete timeline for Bayley. I thought it was like 6 to 9 months.
Depending on the nature of the injury.
But I don't even know where I heard that from. Might have just been you talking out your ass. I'm not sure. We just say things sometimes here on the show.
I like based on the injury, watching sports. That if it was me saying it, it's probably because I did a Google search and that's what it said.
When I say talking out of your ass, usually you're talking out of your ass a lot more educated than I am.
Well, that's up for debate.
Ryan Gorman says Big E has to be the favorite to win the Rumble right now, right? I'll believe it when I see it. Maybe.
If it's not Brock, then
it's hard to come up with somebody else if it's not Brock.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think part of it is like, I understand they gave him a half-assed title reign. I'm not expecting much more, but I will be over the moon if they do give it to him. I'd love that.
Heck yeah. Maggie here says she posted recently within the last 48 hours that she's on the next phase of recovery, but did not seem like close enough to return for the Rumble.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie. 5-second pose here with the sub says Lacey Evans will probably return at the Rumble. That's entirely possible.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Dang MQ asks, are you surprised there was no Veer is Coming package last night?
That's right. We forgot to mention
Veer is no longer coming.
He's done coming. Mike RTC says, do you think Friday will be Roman's babyface turn? No, I don't think you can turn if Paul Heyman's going to turn on. I think Paul Heyman's going to turn on Brock. Brock's supposed to be a good guy right now.
Yeah.
David Matuszek, how many accumulative days has it been since Veer had that promo about him coming on Raw to before the lack of him last night? So it was October 25th. So however many days that's been.
60 something?
God, I wish it was 69 as of last night.
Oh, what did you say it was?
I think it's been a little bit more than October 25th.
All right, carry on. I'll count them up.
All right.
October
Just
25th.
kayfabe it at 69, please. Let's see here. Floppy Nip says, did you see Hobbs's recent tweet? I heard about it. I have not looked at it, but I can do it right now. I can look at it. From what I understand, it was more support for AEW, which is great for him speaking his mind. I think that's terrific. 5-second post says, Lacey Evans will probably return to the Rumble. I could see that being the case. It's been forever. What was it was supposed to be, it was prior to last year's Mania that she got, that she was she was pregnant. Let's see here.
59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71.
Damn it! Fuck! Ugh. Oh, it was so close.
Very close.
It was so close.
It's 70 if 71 if you include the day the first package debuted.
So close.
Uh-huh.
Damn.
Yep.
I mean, maybe that simply means he stopped coming at 69 days. So he's not coming anymore.
Yeah. Could be.
69 would have been what?
It would have been
Saturday?
Yesterday would have been 7. Oh, actually, you know what? If you start the count the Tuesday following, I think it would have been 69 days. Because it's 71 days to the day, which is Tuesday, obviously, but yesterday would have been 70 days.
Well, yeah, yesterday would have been 70 days.
Yeah.
Day one.
No, day one would have been 68. Sunday would have been 69.
So we stopped coming
Fightful.
on Sunday.
Fightful is rating with a party of 16. Well, thank you very much, Fightful Gaming.
What's up, Fightful Gaming? Good to have you here as we wrap up our WWE Monday Night Raw review. Wow. Well, that was exciting when you're kind of coming to 69.
So close.
All right.
So close.
So close. I'm sure there are ways we can parse this at 69.
Well, I said if you start the count the day after his first video package aired, then it is 69.
And it's 69, yeah. Oh, man. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll stick around a little while afterwards.
Yes.
Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.